Hi guys, it's Mark Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, also known as Mark Zicree Space Command, and I'm here today to talk about a movie I finally got around to seeing, Hidden Figures. Now wait a minute, you might say, that's not a science fiction movie, this is Mr. Sci-Fi. Well, let's talk about science fiction and space and the Apollo missions and Gemini missions and Mercury missions, because when I was a kid, that was all happening. And it was phenomenal. We really don't have a manned space program anymore. Yes, we're sending people up to the ISS, but it basically goes up and comes down and goes up and comes down and stays in low Earth orbit. And there's no active program now to really send men out into the solar system and beyond. And that was what was going on when I was a kid. And there really is another kind of science fiction, which is, in a way, science fiction nostalgia, which is nostalgia for the future we thought we were going to have. And that period was phenomenal because there was a sense, everyone talks about the space race and beating the Russians, but that's not what it was about for all of us. It was about mankind doing something that we had never done before, the greatest thing we had ever done, the thing that no other animal that we knew of had ever done. We're the only animal that we know of that's looked up at the stars and said, I wonder what those are, and then went out and found out. And so there was a time of great hope. And recently some of the men who've walked on the moon have passed away, Neil Armstrong principal among them. And there will be a time, not far into the future, when everyone who walked on the moon will be gone. And there will also be a time when everyone who was alive when man walked on the moon will be gone. Unless they develop a mortality between now and then, but I'm just saying, given the likelihood. And then it will become a historical event that no one alive directly remembers. And it'll be like the Civil War or the Theodore Roosevelt administration or any past event where there are no witnesses, no one around. And so it will become musty and faded and like an old snapshot. And that's very sad to me. And I think it's so vital that we do reactivate the manned missions, and we do send men to Mars and beyond. And I think there's something about having someone physically there, someone actively looking around and building a future that's so important. And I think the movie Hidden Figures really, really points out why space is important, particularly now, particularly in these times of divisiveness and fear and various forces trying to attempt to drive people apart and say we must stay on our own enclaves. And Hidden Figures, which I'd been told is sort of an old-fashioned movie, and so I avoided it, but it isn't. There's nothing corny or hackneyed about it. It's very timely, because what it says more than anything else is that people who are kept in their place, quote-unquote, people who are kept apart, who are viewed as other, who are viewed as lesser, have enormous amounts to offer, that they are the same as us, and that if the moment that we let them have their shot and show what they can do and come together with compassion and talent and brilliance, we see that they're the same as us. In fact, in many cases, individuals, of course, can be better than us, and that coming together, we can be better than we are. And I think it's a hugely important message, and it's certainly the message of Space Command, what I've been writing and shooting and producing and directing, and Elaine has been working on it with me, of course, my partner, along with an army of people. But I think this is, again, what Star Trek taught us, and it inspired many people to go into the space program and into the sciences. But the message is much more important than just turning people into scientists. The message is, let's all come together to be more than we are. Let's come together to do more than we've done. And because of that, it's innately, inevitably, a message of peace, a message of let's build something rather than tearing something apart. It's so important to know that the enemy is not the other person. The enemy is not that group over there. The enemy is injustice. The enemy is fear. The enemy is not allowing people to have the same opportunities you have. It's so funny because we're so wired to be what we were when we were in the trees, to be small and fearful and stay in our little bands and be afraid of the other little bands or the jaguar or the lion or anything that's preying on us. And yet, because we evolved these enormous brains that had to do something else with their time, in addition to the wiring, we started looking up at the skies. We started looking around and wondering what things were. We had an enormous curiosity, but more than that, and this is what's really different about us, we had the ability to reason things out and come up with solutions and come up with answers and find out what the larger nature of reality was, which we're continuing to do. So, anyway, I just wanted to talk about that. I highly recommend Hidden Figures. It's a wonderful film. The performances are wonderful, and it leaves you feeling good about people, feeling good about those times, and potentially our times and the times ahead. So that's it for now, Mr. Sci-Fi, and we'll be talking again really, really soon. Bye bye.